Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We are here for another week of the Think Big podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Marlon Johnson. I got my brother Sam Singh and Alejandro Alvarez on the screen. And as you can see, we have a special guest this week, Mr. Alex Quezada. And we're going to get into why he's on the screen, why we're bringing him on. This is actually our first week having a guest. We've been running this show for now 34 weeks. Is this 34 weeks?
I think it's 35,
34 weeks straight. Have not missed an episode, have not missed a week. Y'all have been showing up. We already see Dustin and Alexander and Josh and Cody in the chats. They were already blowing up the chat. Josh was actually blowing up the chat since 4:30, which is insane. So what up, Josh? We appreciate you showing some love in the chat. Guys, I want to quickly remind you before we get into this that we're going to be asking you to pay your dues, and we're going to be asking you to pay your dues early, which means if you've been getting value from these last couple of episodes, if you've been getting value from the last couple of weeks, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Hit that little thumbs up button right now. You are helping us. You are blessing us with the gods and the algorithms of YouTube to grow this channel and to get it out to more people. And quite frankly, like, this is a game for us. Like, I like gamify this. Like, it feels super dope watching those numbers go up. So intrinsically, it is motivating me to want to pour out more into you, to have Sam do like a 5-hour masterclass with you, to have Alejandro do like some free giveaways where he's hooking you up with VAs, to have Daryl do some sales training. So when we start seeing the numbers go up, we're just like, yo, let's give more stuff. So guys, I'm excited about today's episode. Like I said, we've never had a guest on this podcast, so this is going to be a first time. But before we jump into it, I'm going to pass it over, and I want to hear how my brother's doing today. Alejandro, Sam, how y'all doing today?
I'm doing amazing, brother. Thank you so much. Super excited to have Alex Quezada over here with us, man. Super dope art you got back there. This is obviously something new, so let's just wall in out and have fun with Alex on here and give him a good time.
this is it's gonna be a damn good time. I was telling everyone behind the scenes before we got started here that Marlon and I have been adventuring a little bit. We've been kind of going around the country. We've been having a good time and, reaping the benefits of what it means to be a business owner in real estate. And now we get back to work this week, and we get to start off our week, not just the right way, but like the best way, interviewing kind of a badass human being all around. So it's like, Marlon, you asked, like, how am I doing, man? I don't think I could be doing much better. And here's a special reason why. Alex Quezada, for anyone that doesn't know, if you don't know, you've been kind of like with your head in the sand, ostrich syndrome, this dude is meteorically rising in this industry. And Alex, you graced me and one of my best friends on earth, Logan Manzanares, on the Origin Story podcast not too long ago. And so it's like deja vu, but it's like I feel like a spoiled rich kid right now because I get to hang out with you again, which is always a good time. But you absolutely freaking motivated the hell out of us there. And this podcast, I think I get to hang out with my brothers. I get to hang out with my homies. And I'm like, I can't wait to see what happens, because selfishly, I know that after you leave today, what's going to happen is all of us are going to start making more money. Like, it's just by hanging out with you. So for those of you guys that don't know, Alex Quezada is involved in a lot of badass things. Right? You're in single family real estate. You're in multifamily real estate. You do wholesale. And then the real big thing that you're focusing on is dominating. And I'm not saying like you're not playing, you're not dabbling, you're freaking dominating the self-storage industry right now. You're doing some amazing things. You're all over the place. You were just on Steve Trang's podcast, which is a massive accomplishment, right? Dude, it is an absolute freaking honor to have you on. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
So, Marlon, because I'm going to try not to ask too many questions because I've already like done this, and I feel like I'd be spoiled and entitled to do that. Marlon, I know you got a lot of questions for Alex, but like let's get to it, man. The folks need to get to know him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to try my best not to just be selfishly asking every question here, but Alex, for the people that don't know you yet, I mean, Sam's introduction should have already made them pull out a notepad and they should be ready to take notes. But I want to know, what brought you into this world? Like, what brought you into this realm of real estate, into entrepreneurship? Because this could be a tough sport. This could be a tough place to live in. Why do you ever come and enter it?
Yeah, I got started 11 years ago was into a radio ad from Ron LeGrand. So I know not many people probably know who he is, but he's like the godfather of like creative financing and real estate. So he's been around for a long time and went to a 2-day boot camp where he pitched going to like a 3-day boot camp. I think actually it was a 1-day thing, pitching to go to a 3-day thing. So I bought that, went to that boot camp 3 days, bought like every product there. At that time, I was doing a full-time face-to-face like travel timeshare sales. And so I bought all those courses. I was saving up to buy a house, and I figured they were teaching how to buy property with no money. I could go find how to buy a house with no money, and I had money saved aside. So I bought all those courses and then just started, implementing it right away. Quit my full-time job doing timeshare sales and went all in real estate.
So you were doing timeshare sales. Like, I mean, how did that transition from like with the timeshare going into the real estate? Because essentially a lot of people like shy away from sales, but you and I know real estate wholesaling, especially, it's a lot of sales. Like, did you find that those skills transferred over pretty well or not so much?
100%. This business is all sales and marketing. So we're handling, sales is a big part of it. And most people I see who struggle is because they can't close, they can't convert. And so if you can't convert a seller to take your low offer or to do something creative, then there's, you're not going to get deals. I see people who have all the systems in place. They can have a team, they can have, the marketing company, they can have the TC and all that. But if you can't close a deal, if you don't know how to talk to a seller, if you can't sell, can't close, you're not going to be able to survive.
So you're confident now, right? 11 years in the game, you've been doing real estate. Things are, at this point, common sense. It's like the back of your hands. But take me back to that beginning. Like, you're getting into this. You bought the courses. You went to the back of the ballroom. Like, you got the upsell, but like you're all in. And now you're working on getting that first deal. What was that like? Because a lot of the listeners, some of them are coming from that place of being brand new at real estate, and they're in the position you were in, Alex, where they just bought into a course. They just bought into this idea of real estate. Hell, they might even be watching this podcast right now and thinking like, all right, I see these guys on the screen. I know it works, but it hasn't worked yet for me. What was going through your mind leading up to that first deal, and what essentially did that one look like?
Yeah, so essentially when I got started, I had a full-time job, and this was like a travel club. So like we got access to timeshare. So we would go to like retirement communities from like Wednesday to Sunday and set up presentations and sell people face to face. And so I was trying to do real estate Monday and Tuesday. I was learning it, but taking action really Monday and Tuesday because it was like full-time, work Wednesday through Sunday. And so it just came to a point where, hey, I took it in all the knowledge. I couldn't spend enough time actually in that business. And although I was a top seller for the past 2 years with my company, I quit to go all into real estate because it takes massive action. Obviously, you can do it on the side. But for me, setting out marketing and then having someone say, hey, come meet me at my house on Saturday and I'm out of town just didn't work. And so for me, and at that time, I didn't have like all the other resources we have today, social media and stuff like that, to partner and have a community and work with other people. And so essentially, I quit my full-time job making good money and went all in real estate. And back then there was a lot of REO properties, foreclosures. So real estate owned properties on the MLS. And that was my first deal, getting a property off the MLS through an agent and turning around, selling it with bandit signs and making, I think it was like 68 or 8,600 bucks on my first deal on Wolf Street in Orlando.
Dang. So, I'm curious, where'd that work ethic come from? Like, because essentially you were hustling, man. Like, you had a full-time job, you're doing this thing on the side, going out, putting out bandit signs. Like, that's not a lazy person's activity. Going out and putting out bandit signs. Like, people complain when they got to pull a list and make some calls, but you were actually physically getting out there. Like, where'd that work ethic get birthed at?
Yeah, my father, pushing me. I had a full-time job since I was like 15, 16 years old. Went to school, got straight A's, did sports, multiple sports. Every season I was in an activity. So just pushing to be the best and do more. Don't want to have idle time because you get into bad things. So, just going all in, man. It takes massive action and don't like to sit still. I'm always like, when I'm typically talking, I'm like walking around, pacing. Like I'm a high energy, high motive. And so just, got to go all in.
So, and let me talk to you about that real quick, because this is something that like I've been preaching from the rooftops, and it's this idea of focus. right? It's getting your attention and dialing it in. And you're someone that is high energy, like you just said. You're pacing around, walking around. A lot of people, they come to me and they come to all of us and they say like, yeah, but like, it's hard for me to stay focused on one thing. I got this and this and this. But you're saying that even at an early stage, you recognized I got to be all in on this thing. I could do it halfway, but what is half-ass going to produce?
For sure. Yeah, definitely takes focus. And like Sam mentioned, I got a lot going on, but like I singularly focused on building the wholesale operation, getting that streamlined, getting that automated, being able to replace myself, stepping out of that business before I started venturing into other asset classes. And when I did do the first couple asset classes, mobile home parks and apartments, I teamed up and partnered with the right people who can help me grow in that, asset class essentially. And so, I own 15 Airbnbs, but I don't do anything with the Airbnbs. I partner with people who that's their main focus and utilize my skills of, deal structuring, raising money, and we partner together. And so, to kind of get into these different avenues of business, it's all been about partnerships really for me. And so that way I can singly focus on what I'm good at and what I want to, work on, which right now is self-storage.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to be talking about self-storage. However, before we get there, because Alex, what I want to do, and this is my goal with these podcasts, it's to extract knowledge and information that is so clear and obvious on this side of the field. But it just, when we were getting started, it was like, wait, what? People think like that? Like that's what's actually happening in your head. Like when you're out there and I'm watching you run around, it's not random chaos. It's actually a planned implementation going on. So 2 things. One, you mentioned that when you're doing these things, Alex, that you're looking for partners, that you go and you find these people. When you're identifying ideal partners to work with, and I'm going to ask you a question that hopefully is obvious to everyone, but I want to hear it out loud. It sounds like you're looking for the people, like you said, are dialed in, are focused on their one lane. Like you're looking for the experts. You're not looking for the guy that comes to you and says like, hey, Alex, like I do 4 different things and I have an e-commerce business and I run real estate and I also rent jet skis on the weekend while I coach my kid's soccer team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You want to find that person who's dialed in on their specialty. And so, and another thing with partners, like you got to make sure this person's going to like elevate you and can really, triple your business. So essentially, if you bring a partner in to do Airbnbs, and if you're kind of already dabbling in it, then like they really have to triple your business to be able to be a worthwhile partner. They really have to like exponentially grow your company or be able to add on bolt-on businesses. And so my business partner, my first real business partner, now we own multiple businesses together, a call center together, a data company, a skip tracing company. So we have, he has been somebody who has built a call center before and has built a 200-person team. And he's done that again now with us. And so you have to find those right partners, because if you're both the same person trying to do the same things, it's not really the best partnership, because, you're the same person. So if you're 2 visionaries are not going to get things done. So you got to work with people who are, have different skills than you. And that's what truly makes a great partnership.
And
so
that's something.
Let me do this real quick. I'm so sorry. I need to highlight this because this is something that this quote Alex said on Origin Story, and he's like, what the hell? Sam remembers that? I remember it because it actually was a paradigm shift for me. Came on Origin Story and he said partnerships equal rocket ships, and because this is one of those things that we always want to know, right? Alex, real quick question. The last time I spoke to you about it, I think you were at about 50 million in real estate owned, right? Owned real estate. Are you at like $1 billion yet? I mean, I know it's only been a few months, but I mean, the pace that you work at, I wouldn't be surprised if you're at $1 billion already.
No, we're still right around there, but we did sell 3 self-storage facilities, and then we bought a bigger one. So we're just a little over 50, but we did turn some assets and made our investors happy and put some liquidity in our pockets.
Beautiful. Well, there's one thing I want to hit. Marlon and I have been working on this thing for a little bit of time now, right? Like as collaborators, we talk about entering a season of saying no, right? The season of no is so critical. And that's that as we grow, we get more opportunities that naturally come to us. But if you are not ready in your personal ability, in the clarity in your own mindset and what you bring to the table, or just having enough resources and bandwidth, like everything that you do will fall apart. So I want to highlight this to everyone that's watching, whether you're a newbie or an intermediate investor or business owner. doing all the things that Alex does right now, it really is dependent on him having so much clarity in what his avatar is, what he brings to the tables. And I love the fact that you stay in that lane, right? When you go and partner on 15 Airbnbs, which is a lot of freaking Airbnbs, I'm assuming you're not doing any of the management. You're not doing anything with the listings. You're bringing your skill set, just knowing you're a marketer, you're a creative finance specialist in your underwriting and how you can structure deals. And you're maximizing that in what you bring to the table, and you're letting the operator kind of stay in their lane. Like, I really want to hit that for folks, because the bigger and like the more money you start making, all of a sudden more opportunities start coming to you, right? And it becomes more important to stay in your lane and double down, double down, double down. And the only reason Alex can do all the things that he does right now is because he's freaking doubled down so many damn times. Okay, I'm so sorry. I had to highlight that.
Yeah, you're spot on. And that's actually was the second point that I wanted to bring up. When you're looking at finding these partnerships, when you're looking at getting into these multiple streams, because that's a common term thrown around in our industry, multiple streams of income, which I absolutely believe in. However, I also believe there's a seasonality to getting to those multiple streams, establishing the foundation. And then as you step into the next stream, it's because you so established the first foundation that you can now step off onto the next foundation. When you're stepping off from one foundation to the next, is it that Alex is saying to himself, okay, time for me to learn how to wear a brand new hat? Or is Alex saying, hey, I've already gotten really good at wearing this hat, and I'm going to go to the next foundation that this hat is extremely valued at, so I can continue to wear the hat I'm in. I can continue to drive in the lane I'm in and attach more to my lane.
Yeah. So essentially, like building a wholesale operation and building like a self-storage operation or a multifamily operation, it's all kind of like the same, roughly. It's just about, it took me a long time to get our self-storage business, because the first couple of years I worked for somebody else, and then it was me and my brother for 3 years, and thought we were doing good, making money, but we were just spending it and having fun and enjoying life. And then I went to an event, someone was crushing it, younger than me. I was like, oh, that's what I should be doing. I should be doing 20, 30 deals a month. And then that point is when I was like, okay, now I'm going to really focus and build a team and build a business that doesn't require me constantly spending my hours to get dollars. And so then at that point in time, when I was able to do that, I was like, okay, that took about 2-3 years to really get it systemized, automated, and done. Actually, about 2 years. And then I was like, okay, this is running. It's smooth. It's like a machine. And now I can step away and replicate that business with self-storage. And that's what we're working on right now, is continue to grow our self-storage team to have the same processes and systems in place that we're doing here. I utilize my wholesale operation and the call center we have to ramp up our self-storage company, and that's what we're doing right now. And we're bringing on more people, like an underwriter and investor relations girl, to kind of continue to grow the self-storage business and make that a solid foundation as well.
So that's wicked cool. I love seeing that progression of, again, you established that first ground level, you got the wholesale operation, and more so, you got it to the place of being a system. And I'm curious to know, with what you learned as you got to that place where you saw these younger guys, they're crushing it at a higher level, made you and your brother realize, oh man, we've been kind of just dicking around and slacking off, and now it's time to get into the game and take it serious. I'm curious to know, from your opinion now, what you started doing as far as building it as a system. Could you have started that process earlier?
Yeah, 100%. I tell everybody, like, my only kind of regret is I should have been here where I'm at right now 3 years earlier. Be way more beneficial. We were just partying for 3 years, and it was a good time with a great life. But it definitely, I could have been in those rooms earlier and connected with the right person to just flip my mindset. So it's all about getting those right rooms, getting into those right people to see what's possible. So that's why I continue to go to masterminds and events and, network with people, because that one person can alter your thinking, can make you see what's possible, and really, change your life in a different direction.
Oh man, bro, you just said like my trigger word. You said the word mindset, and that sets me off because I love that word, and it's been a paradigm shift. So I'm curious for you because I was listening to your episode with Steve Trang. Amazing episode, by the way. Seriously, congratulations for getting on the Real Estate Disruptors. Like that is no joke. That is a place that you earn your spot on that show. They don't just Steve doesn't just bring up nobodies on there. So seriously, phenomenal job getting there. And on that episode, you mentioned that there's a point in your business where things were the trajectory was starting to move downward. And it sounded like you took some time to reflect and you realized you had stepped away from the foundation that you had built into you with your mindset. Can you go into a little bit of detail on that?
Yeah. So what really kind of like got me started, even initially with real estate is this guy, Preston Ely. He talked a lot about mindset and, affirmations. And so putting that into my life, I literally have like manifested my entire life through affirmations and gratitude and writing down my goals and making specific actions towards those goals. And we were doing well, and we started making 100K months, 80K months. And then how in the wholesale game, if you don't know, you're dealing with problem properties and people with problem situations. And so a lot of these situations can end up being probate deals that you think 50K is coming, and it ends up being, who knows when it's going to close, or a deal comes up and, somebody else contracted it before you, or in-law came in town and they're on the deed, or whatever the issue may be that delays or prevents a closing. And so we thought money was coming, and it was delayed or pushed back or canceled. And so it came to a point where I was like, damn, I'm not gonna have any more money here. Like in May, like I think I'm gonna be tapped out. I'm not gonna have money for marketing, keep the lights on. It's gonna be tough, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then I realized like I got away from saying my affirmations, speaking my goals, talking to myself and talking myself up. And I literally just started doing that again for like the next two weeks, and literally deals fall in, deals come quick, deals can close early now. And it's just like it's just so powerful. And when you get away from those kind of like foundational things that help you out, it could be a detriment. So I realized that, I got to get back to what got me here. And it's all mindset, really. When I used to go to those events, when I first started, it would always be talk about mindset. Every person would talk about mindset. Every boot camp, every seminar would talk about mindset. And I never made it a priority until, I did. And that's when my life really changed.
Yeah, Alex, seriously, I got to say thank you for sharing that, because what's interesting, especially a lot of people, like when they're new, we hear that. We hear the mindset. You hear you got to focus on affirmations, and it's like, yeah, don't give me the woo woo. Just show me how to cut a deal. Show me how to make it happen. Show me how to negotiate this guy down to me getting a 100K check. And we think like, just give me the strategies and tactics, and I'll go out and figure out how to make the money, right? And it's important for people to hear, especially as different individuals start to reach higher and higher levels of success, that the mindset work is not only important and was important, but still continues to be important. And it's a part of the process, even at this level, especially, bro, like you're a big dude, man. Like there's a lot of guys that like are out there that look like you, and they're like, yeah, I'm too manly for this, man. And for you to be able to come out and say like, yo, this is how I built my empire and how I'm continuing to build my empire is extremely helpful. So seriously, thank you for that, because I know the audience appreciates it. We have about 487 people watching right now, and I know they appreciate that right now.
So let me highlight this, because this is so key. They go hand in hand. He mentioned two very important things, not just mindset, but something that reinforces mindset, and that's the environment that you have around you. So one thing that like I've been really working on, coming up in this industry, is just getting myself into bigger rooms. Like I want to always be the smallest person in the room. And every time I evolve and get into another bigger room, Alex Quezada is always in there. I'm like, this guy's freaking in every single room out there. He's crushing. Not only is he in these rooms, he's a leader in all these rooms. And one thing that's so important is it sounds like it's an amazing word. It's a word that Marlon actually taught me, and that's being in alignment, right? You were doing really well, And then what ended up happening is you probably got off the beaten path a little bit, right? You got off the reinforced path. You fell out of alignment with yourself, and you had to work to get back into that. But I want to hear, man, because for those of you guys that aren't following Alex, I love that he does this thing. He'll be on a plane, will never tell you where he's going. He makes you guess which seminar he's going to, which mastermind he's going to. How important is the proximity, the room that you're in, to staying in the right mindset?
It's huge. You know, like when you're getting through those groups, you know, Marlon, I think, I don't know if he said it before we started or not, but he said, you know, Alejandro keeps him as an accountability partner, you know, keeps you on track. And so when you're in those groups with, you know, other high level guys, you know, there's guys who take you under their wing. There's guys who you can partner with. There's guys that you just chat with on the side, pushing each other to do more and do better, and pump you up. And so it's great to be in those rooms to see what's possible, because there's a lot of high level guys in there. I step in a lot of those rooms, and sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, I might think I'm hot stuff, but then someone comes in, I'm like, dude, there's people crushing me. They're like 10 times higher level than I am. Like, and that's good because it pushes me to continue to do more and want to be more. And it's super possible. So when you see what is possible and what others can achieve, you realize that you can achieve it as well. So if you start, you know, changing your thinking, how you perceive things, or what do you think is not possible, the words you speak, you know, how other people speak, and how they react to certain situations, is just, you got to be able to feel and see other people and how they're moving and they're shaking, and really just take it all in. And so you got to definitely surround yourself with winners and people who are where you want to be. And so that's what I strive to do in many different rooms and different asset classes with different groups of people, and just really surround myself with A players.
Bro, absolutely love that. So let's talk about this. You start to elevate your mindset. You start to elevate your game. You go from wholesaling. You guys are doing about 5 deals a month. You up that up to 20, 30 deals per month after you start getting things straight. You get things systemized. You start holding on to some assets, some small apartments, and then you step into essentially the space you're hanging out in now and dominating now, which is the self-storage space. What caused that transition? Like, because if I look at your social media right now, you are all about the self-storage space, right? And you were just taking it to another level. So what did you see there that brought you in and that held you in right now?
Yeah, so actually, I actually went to one of these boot camp seminars, and I actually left. It was one that was a lot of people, and there was different rooms, so you got to choose which room you want to be in. I left a multifamily room where I was there for an hour, bought somebody's course, caught the last 10 minutes of somebody else's course. This is 2017, I think. Bought the last 10 minutes of somebody else's pitch, bought their course. I was like, that sounds good too. I'll buy that. And I read it, took it in, but I was still trying to focus on wholesaling, building that company, because I wasn't there yet. And so I read all the material, took it in, went to the boot camp, but I was like, I got to focus on wholesale and get this automated, and then I can step away. And then in 2020, I had one of my students who was like, how can I buy properties with you? How can I do commercial with you? I know you got mobile home parks over here and apartments, and you're doing with this guy and this guy. How can I do deals with you? And so I gave him a self-storage book, and I was like, read this. And then he read it. He gave it back to me. I reread it. And then we went, and that same guy was in town in 2020. And we took a little course again with him, and then a boot camp. And then we, our first marketing campaign, we were going all in, okay, let's do this. We went all in, and our first marketing campaign, we got our first deal. And so just started building from there. And for myself, I put it into my business over here and just kind of ran with it and continued to grow it.
Bro, so that's insane. And what's funny is whether you did it intentionally or unintentionally, what's really cool is you were able to do this while keeping your focus. It actually came from almost like you saying no, almost like a shiny object appears. And instead of you saying ooh, look at this new shiny object, you said, oh, this is a cool shiny object. Someone came to you asking for help, and you said, hey, this is something you can do. And essentially you created your partner by providing them with value, providing them with an opportunity And as they proved themselves with that opportunity, it created a space for you to have a symbiotic relationship to do something with, which is insane.
Yeah, it was good. I wish I did start in 2017 with storage because it was a much unknown, more unknown topic back then. But we're in a good position and we're looking to continue to grow it. So it's been good.
One thing I want to highlight this, man, is we're doing two things, right? We're talking about focus, and we're talking about also surrounding yourself in bigger rooms. And a lot of times these bigger rooms have focuses, right? There's things like the legacy mastermind, which is legacy family, right? That is mostly multifamily. There's a commercial side to it, but it's mostly multi. Then there's CRE, which is AJ Osborne's thing, and that is very much a self-storage kind of room. And so for the folks listening, we want you to go to more masterminds. We want you to surround yourself and be in proximity to amazing human beings who are doing amazing things. But one thing Alex said that really rung true with me, because I did the opposite when I first started getting into more rooms. I did the stupid thing. That's not what Alex did. He got into a room, right? He's like, okay, I went in, I got a course, I got the material, I took it, I learned it. And then he kind of stepped away because he knew he needed to stabilize his wholesale operation first. Right? Because that thing was probably 70, 80, 90% there. It was about to be completely automated. And you knew that if you stepped away from it, it would probably fall apart. So no matter how shiny that object is, you can look at it, analyze it, be like, damn, this is a good idea. And also tell yourself that this is for the next quarter. This is for next year. And there truly is a power to that. And one thing that I know all the three of us talk about this quite often is we see so many people, right? They'll go to a mastermind or a mentorship or the next thing. There's always like a flavor of the week, right? For a little bit last year, I think Airbnb was the only thing that anyone talked about. Then last 6-7 months, it's been multifamily. And then buying businesses just blew up out of nowhere. Everyone's trying to buy profitable businesses. And then guess what's happening? Everyone that we're seeing at all these things who are jumping ship, what always happens is you're building no ship because every single ship, you're just jumping from one to another.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is you waste a year, 2 years of your time. Then you'll have a point of reflection where holy crap, in the last year and a half, I've basically made no money anywhere. Right. And it's what Hermosi, I love this saying that he has. And it's a saying that basically alludes to you being distracted. And that's feeling like you're always everywhere and at the same time nowhere. It's one of my favorite sayings out there because I felt like that when I was first getting started. I want to ask this. That's not for you to go into a room, see people crushing it, doing self-storage, multi, right? And you need to stick with your wholesale. How can people get that? Is that a discipline that you just naturally have to be able to say no to a shiny object?
So I feel like it's definitely was the thing with multifamily and self-storage, a lot of those things is to me in my eyes is long-term money. You can make acquisition fees and things up front, but essentially that's long-term building wealth. And from my partying days, I was spending money and you had to keep making money, and the active income is from wholesaling. And so I knew I have to really get this active income just on a machine where it can keep paying me each month. And then I can step away. And the only way you can scale a business is to find out how quickly you can replace yourself. So even if you have a very shiny object and you're damn, this is really what I want to be doing, and all you have to really do is find out how you can replace yourself, whether it's 2 VAs and one person, two full-time hires, whatever it may be. You got to find out what you're doing, what your activities, and then quickly find somebody to replace yourself so you can maybe go do that other thing. And for me, luckily my brother came up with me for 10 years and, learned everything with me along the way. And I was able to, pour a lot into him. And it was an easy transition for him to take over, step up, step in and facilitate running, our multi-million-dollar wholesale operation and, allow me to step aside and focus on building wealth and building long-term, gains for our family for generations. And so that's what we're looking to do. And there's always a shiny object. There's always something. And so if it is the right thing for you, you just got to find out how best to replace yourself. But if you also don't like what you're doing, I knew we had something good. We had the best buyers in Orlando and Central Florida. We sell deals quick. We have great conversion ratios. It wasn't something that was meant to be turned off. like Tim Brotz from Commercial Empire, he was wholesaling. He saw multifamily and he turned it off and turned everybody to multifamily right away because he's told me because he didn't really have the wholesale operation like going. It wasn't like really his thing. It wasn't going good. So he's like, boom, easy switch. And so when you see a pivot point and it makes sense for you to pivot, go all in. If you're like, this is actually where we should be going, then that's for you. You just got to make sure you know what you're doing. But for me, what we were building, I was like, we got this going. We just got to put some people in the right seats in the right places. Then I can step aside and focus on building something greater and bigger over here.
I want everybody to go back and listen to that part 10 times over. 10 times over, and then you got to send a DM to Alex just saying thank you. Because that's a gem and a half. Like that right there is everything a person needs to hear. And I'm being so serious. Re-listen to that until you feel like jazzed up and ready to run through a wall, because he just gave you the best advice that you're ever going to get. And he just gave it to you for free. So I'm going to pass it back over to Sam, but that was phenomenal.
No, he was going off, and I was like, dude, this better be a freaking clip on Instagram right after. This is so good. It's one thing that I want to, Charlotte mentions this. She's curious to know if he chooses the next business based on how closely aligned it is with the first. And one thing that we didn't really hit on, but it's really important to know, is that Alex actually has complementary businesses. One, he didn't jump ship from one ship to another before it was ready, right? Before that foundation was built. But two, he's not creating businesses that are like, to my knowledge, you're not like doing wholesale real estate and then trying to start a life insurance agency, right? You're doing things that are complementary within an ecosystem built right. They don't detract from one another. In fact, they push. Every single one succeeds. Every single one, they're natural verticals, right? That's such an important freaking thing. And I just want to commend you on that, because I see so many people that's like, okay, well, real estate, and then they want to go and start a credit repair company because some dude on TikTok, and then they go and join PHP. Sorry if anyone works for PHP. But it's complementary business models are really important. And the fun fact is, if you only stick with complementary stuff, it's easier for you to work them because you understand the ecosystem. You're not learning a new industry there. That's so good, dude. That is so freaking good. Yeah.
Ken Clothier, is the one who kind of like put it in my mind, like the bolt-on businesses. So bolting on different companies and different businesses is really why, we did that. So it was also another student who actually kind of like pushed us towards building a call center, because they were like, hey, you're using your call center, your cold callers, because we built it for ourselves first. How can we use yours? And we're like, oh, well, I guess we could hire some and let you use them and train them up. And that's what we did. And we just kind of built upon that. And so some of these things come naturally, like you see opportunity. From the last event, I actually just went to one thing that was like a smart thing that I never thought about is he's like, look at your P&L and where you're spending money. And that is where you want to look at potential opportunities to build a business. So if you're spending a lot of money on, you own 50 houses and you lawn care, you got, $5,000 a month on lawn care. Well, why don't you start a lawn care company? And now you're paying yourself. And so he's like, look at your P&L, and that will really tell you where you can possibly have bolt-on businesses.
Dude, Marlon, have you and I not been talking about turning our liabilities into assets in our businesses?
Literally. Like we always say REI, which is like replace expenses as income. Turn your expenses into income. Boom.
Okay, I want to hit this because we're a little bit over halfway through. But I want to highlight this. Alex, just so you know, this is how much value you're giving. We're at 575 live viewers right now. We were just at 600. For anyone that's watching, this dude's kind of badass at the things he does. If you guys haven't noticed, if you guys are getting value from Alex Quezada right now, if you are, don't even sub to us. What we want you to do is actually take a second, go over to Alex's Instagram, go over to Alex's YouTube. Bro, you've been putting out, there's people who put out content, and then there's people who put out value, right? Alex is straight up just fire hose of value all the time. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. Take a screenshot of this and actually make sure that you get your friends over, because your friends are missing out on this. Because honestly, with the way this guy is scaling, we probably won't be able to afford to have him come on later. We have to probably pay him $1 million. Okay, but back to it. I want to hit on this, right? I've spent a little bit of time with you in person, and your energy is amazing. And then when I always hang out with you, I was like, I'm always one thing that I walk away feeling, and I'm like, this guy can do whatever the hell he wants and crush whatever he wants. Like, if he decided to go and do life insurance, he'd crush it. If he wanted to go and sell Lamborghinis in a dealership, he'd crush that, right? Why self-storage? Why is that the thing that you're focusing on?
Yeah, I like even when I started, it was kind of like the lesser known. It's not as sexy, but there was a lot of opportunity. A lot of mom and pop owners still in that space. Opportunity for creative financing on those deals. Out of the 9 we purchased, 3 of them have been through creative financing. We got 2 under contract right now with creative financing, and so there's that. It's definitely a very not as management intensive of a business. So it is a business that can be, it's not passive. It's a business. So it's not just real estate. It's actually a business. You have customers, not tenants. And so you have to do a lot with like revenue management, have an operator, asset manager. So it's definitely a full-fledged business, but it's something that can be systemized with processes and something that you could step away from, and not having the tenants and toilets to deal with, which are constantly big expenses and a lot of turnover. Self-storage has very sticky tenants. When somebody puts all their belongings in a unit, the likelihood of them moving in the future is or like a rent increase is pretty rare. And so, you have sticky tenants, you have a great opportunity. Demand for self-storage is at an all-time high. And so it's just a great business. And when we got in, it's good, and it's still good now, and it continues to grow. And there's more money pouring into the asset class. BlackRock's in it, and Bill Gates is in self-storage, and there's just tons of money still pouring in, and there's still a lot of opportunity out there. And so, we're continuing to look to, find our place in different markets and continue to grow, our assets.
Dude, I just had a paradigm shift. Wow. So Marlon, I don't know if you guys are, Marlon Alejandro, you guys are smarter than me. So you guys, this is probably not new to, but he said this, you don't have tenants, you have customers. So even in my mind, it's like self-storage. Well, I view that as real estate, right? It's a commercial application of real estate, but it's real estate. You don't have tenants, you have customers. Holy crap.
Dude,
dang, that's epic. Paradigm shifts from Quezada. Damn.
Dude, seriously. And even what you said, right? It just clicked for me why it's such an interesting asset class. When you said that they, when a person comes in and they put all their stuff inside the storage unit, the reality of that is like, think about a person storing all their stuff in the garage or stuff in the basement. Like, when are you ever going to come and actually move that stuff ever again? All of it. So essentially, that's pretty much a lifelong customer at that point. And that never even occurred to me that once you get these people in, for the most part, once they start filling it up with their junk, and typically people they got a lot of junk nowadays. Like, that's just the truth. Like, people are accumulating more and more. It's a consumer-based economy. So people are just consuming and not letting go of it. That you've got these people that are just going to be recurring. That's recurring revenue coming in over and over and over again. I can see why you like this asset class.
Yep. It's kind of like I did one video on it. It's like gyms, they get you on the auto pay subscription model, and it's like you're paying, it's on auto pay, set it and forget it. And I've had properties I've bought that had the same owner for 20 years. And the lady came in, she's like, I'm here to move my stuff out. And she's like, I was like one of the first customers. I've been here for 20 years. And she didn't have her key. She hadn't been there in 5 years, but for 5 years, she was paying that payment, $60 a month for 5 years. So that's a good business model. And with technology that's in place, that you can automate a lot of these properties, it's definitely an industry that it's been good to us so far.
Now, Alex, let me ask you this, right? Because you're an investor, you're an intelligent investor, which means no matter what, although it's a great opportunity, you're not just going in there and just buying any storage facility. You're not just like going on LoopNet and just like, hey, let me just pay whatever market price is. You're going in and you're getting these things at essentially wholesale prices or wholesale terms. So what are you doing to make sure that when you go and you pick up a storage facility that you're actually getting a good deal? Because I've seen people get excited about getting a deal, but then when I look at their deals, they're not really deals. Whereas you have deals that are solid deals where you've got like heavy hitters, you've got like the Pace Morbys of the world who actually invest in your deals, like because your deals are that chunky and that solid. So what are you doing to ensure that you find good deals?
Yeah, man, it's just about negotiating with them and really targeting the seller's why and what's important to them. And then on the other side, you got to see where the add value is. Like where can I fit in here and make the difference in the income and the net operating income? So like the first property we ever bought, it was the seller wanted a 5 cap. So a 5 cap is essentially if you're buying a property all cash, it's a 5% cash on cash return. That's essentially a 5 cap. And this market, I didn't know this market. It's in Sebring, Florida. It was a self-storage deal, and it was our first deal. So I called a broker in the area. I'm like, what would a self-storage property in this area, in this market trade for? And he said a 7 cap. So in this area, most people want a 7% cash on cash return if they're going to buy something in this area. And so we're paying, or this seller wanted, I think it's like 33% more than what we would pay typically. And so for us, it was creating a win-win situation where, we're finding out what's important to them. And for them, it was price and getting them a certain amount down and a certain amount per month. And we were able to structure a deal with them where we saw the add value opportunity. They had a tree company running out of a big warehouse on the property. And we saw that, well, when they move out, we can rent out that unit and they're not getting income from it, but we'll get a $1,750 a month. And then we saw that there was the rents were below market. We saw that we can add some more buildings. We saw that we can expand the parking. So it's not about, the price you're going in at or the cap rate you're going in at. It's about where you can take it to be. And so with commercial real estate, you can force appreciation with add value. And so it's really looking at where the add value is and then working with the seller on what their needs and their why and their wants are and creating a win-win situation. And that's, typically what we're trying to do is create win-win situations. So it's not just for us, but it's the seller and then, our investors as well.
And I love that because it's a totally transferable skill from which you learned in the wholesale operation. And more importantly, what it is like when I hear that, this is to me like the signs of an intelligent investor, because this is someone that's going in, you're looking at the current as is situation, you're seeing the potential, and the potential isn't relying on a crystal ball. And this is what I really want to emphasize. You're not relying on, it could appreciate in the next 5 years or 3 years. You're actually looking at the potential to force the appreciation in it today based off of your ability to structure, your ability to operate, your ability to get the right people and teams in place and do that physical work to get that thing going and jumpstart and turn it into from a good investment to a great investment. And that's huge.
100%. Yeah. We were able to, in the last 2 years as we started, we were able to double the value of 3 properties within 2 years or less. And those are the 3 properties we did sell.
That's fire on an asset class. Like you can do that with single family on a fix and flip, right? But on a large asset class like that is insane. One thing that I want to highlight for a lot of people here who may not be familiar, right? And this is like the way that I personally, like if I later down the road, different season, right? Stay focused, different season. And I look at multifamily, right, versus self-storage. One of the reasons why I really gravitate towards self-storage is how do you do the value add? It's something you mentioned, right? With multifamily, you've got 100 tenants and you want to force appreciation or force value add by renovating kitchens, by redoing the flooring. Do you understand how logistically difficult that is to handle? But on a self-storage facility, like the people don't live there. Their stuff lives there. But for the most part, I mean, it's like repaving roads, adding maybe carports or RV ports, repainting lines, adding security cameras and just some level of security infrastructure. This is some of the easiest logistically value add there is.
Yeah, that's one of the other benefits of it is like the add value is pretty easy unless you're expanding and developing additional square footage, which can be a process obviously as well. But besides that, there's a lot of add value on these deals. A lot of these mom and pop properties that they don't have marketing, they don't have a website, they don't have a gate, they have no security cameras, they don't have exterior lights. So like some of that stuff is pretty easy to able to put into a property and just get a better class of tenant and charge more. And so once you can show the customers that like you turn around this property and that they feel safe and secure with their belongings and themselves being at the property, then a lot of these are quick turnarounds. And so you can force that value very quickly. And so that's what we look for is how quickly can we get to our performer number. And it's not something that's 3 to 5 years out. It's literally like year one, where can we push this to?
I have a question on that, Alex, if I can. When you're adding the value to this property right now in this current market, I'm assuming you're acquiring these with creative finance, or are you acquiring this traditionally? Which one are you targeting?
So we've acquired 9 so far, and 3 have been with creative financing. Several have been with a local bank credit union, and then we have also purchased with like hard money, like a bridge lender. They call it bridge lending for commercial. And so that was actually our best deal. We bought that one in Winter Haven, Florida for $1.65 million, a lot of add value, and renovating units, had some retail space also, got that all leased up and rented. And we doubled the value of that one, a little bit more over, for $3.85 million in 15 months. So that one's we went in knowing we weren't going to refinance to hold it. We were going to flip it. And so that was a tremendous added value deal, but you just got to see how you can take down these assets. That deal was supposed to be a creative finance deal. Then another buyer stepped in with cash offer. And so that's why we pivoted and moved towards using the bridge lender. So that way we can come in cash and close quickly.
Love it. And in this current market, Alex, when you're adding so much value to these assets, with the current rates right now, like what is your exit there? Are you refinancing, getting that big chunk of equity that you build up in the property, or are you just holding it a little bit until rates go back down?
Yeah, so I never bought these to sell. Essentially, like I came in thinking I'm going to build and hold long term, and because I had my wholesale business, we were doing rehabs at the time, and so I had money coming in. I was like, this is long term. I'm going to hold these for a long time. And it wasn't until I was in the right room, hearing different viewpoints, different, thoughts on opportunities and opportunity costs, and seeing that my return on equity, what we were making cash flow wise compared to if we sold these 3 properties, what we can make in our pocket and then redeploy that capital and make on a return. So our return on equity essentially was like 2-3%. With the money that was trapped in equity, if we sold that property, can I make more than 2 or 3% on that money? 100%, make 10, 20% plus returns. And so it only made sense to sell those assets, take that capital, and then redeploy and make greater returns with that capital than holding on to those assets. Now, if that asset is an A-class asset, or you're close to retirement, or you can't find deals, then maybe hold on to it. But I can find deals. I'm not anywhere near retiring or ever retire. And then I'm, there's other opportunity. And so it only made sense to sell those assets, take that capital back, redeploy, go bigger. And after we sold those 3 properties, we bought our biggest property outside of Houston, Texas, and replaced those units with even more square footage and even more units.
Love it. Love it. I have this question for you, Alex. This is a little bit different. Now, you're killing it right now. Congratulations, brother, on all the success you built. That is super inspiring. That's something that people really feel like they need to listen to continue pursuing those negative thoughts that like, oh, maybe I'm just not right for this, or maybe it's just not for me. What is your thought process, Alex, when you're stuck and you feel like everything is against you, when like you just feel stuck and like this is not going your way, or this is not going your way? Your family may be upset with you. Mentally, what is your process to get out of that, to continue to the next step?
Yeah, it's kind of like going back to the foundation, like really just like resetting, whether it's at the gym or in a sauna or walking the dog, just kind of like refocus and just be like, getting your mind right, getting your mindset right, speaking yourself, up, speaking yourself what you need to accomplish, what you're going to accomplish as if you already accomplished it. Knowing that is possible, knowing I'm going to get this done. This is, the words you speak have superpowers. So you gotta speak the right words into existence. And so if you, say, we're doing a capital raise, if you say, hey, man, it's hard to get capital and, in this time, then it's hard to get capital this time. If you say, hey, money flows all around me, doors are opening for me every single day, key people are coming into my experience to assist me in my mission, then money flows in and money comes and investors come. And so that's what you got to do. So it's just reframing your mindset. And we all get in this way. And I do it too. Like all the time I get, the bad thought, or I say this word, but you got to just kind of constantly be on yourself to retrain how you say things and what you say and how you speak. And so that's really what it takes. And, I do it all the time. I have to reset myself all the time because, those negative thoughts slip in and this happens or this falls apart. So you just got to continue to know that like you have a goal and you have a trajectory of how you're going to get there. You have a right team and people in place to accomplish those goals. And so that's the only way it's going to get done. Let's get it done.
Love it, man. Such a great answer. So initially you just redefine what happens if you stay here and what happens if you continue pursuing your goals. And that's what keeps you going.
Yeah, you set these plans in motion and you have people depending on you. We have team, staff, family. And so there's only one, we set ourselves up for success, knowing what we're going to accomplish. We don't take on too much without knowing, that we can back it up. So we want to make sure that we, do what we say we're going to do. And we build a team around it and build a core foundation. That way we don't have anything falling apart.
Love it. And last question, this is kind of a selfish question. I was just waiting on this one just for me. I just wrote it down really early. What is your process to qualifying your partners? What is your process for that? And how do you know that is the right partners for you? This is something I'm still working with. I have partners and sometimes like, should have had that person as a partner. What is that process for you?
Yeah, you want to date before you get married, and you want to kind of like know ahead of time like what the exit is going to look like for you guys if you divorce, if you break up. And so setting those things in line ahead of time is going to be important, because if you can't even do that up front, then it's going to be detrimental to you guys down the line. You probably should even start a partnership. But the number one thing is, like I said in the beginning, I touched on it a little bit, is you want to make sure they can exponentially grow your business. It can't be like, hey, I partner with Sam and he's going to double my wholesale operation. No, we got to triple it, because if we double it, I'm making the same thing. So we got to quadruple it, 5x it. So you got to have people who are, the right person in the right seat, not the same person as you. You got to have somebody who, if you're a visionary, you have to have the integrator. If you're an integrator, you have to have the visionary. And so realizing that they're not going to do the same task as you, you have to wear different hats, sit in different seats, and push each other forward to greater heights than you even thought.
Love that. Thank you, Alex. I have like 20 questions I wrote here for you, but we have an hour. And Marlon, look at Marlon. He's just itching for some more questions. Bro, I'm going to pass it out to my man Marlon here.
I'm just over here like, yo, Alex, like you're holding out on us, man. Like you got all the sauce in there. So it's like we're just trying to extract the sauce for everybody. But Alex, right now, bro, you're working on a new deal that you got coming up, right? Like a new storage deal that you're actually opening up to other individuals for them to even be a part of, for them to collaborate with you and to come in, like folks that are accredited investors. Can you talk a little bit about that deal? Because I'm sure a lot of people, like I already see some folks inside here who I know, like some of the people that chill with us, some of our lenders are inside here, some people that have capital that are looking for places to essentially invest to get a better ROI because their 401ks are not doing it right now. So, can you talk about that? Because I think it'd be really valuable for people to understand what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. We have a property in Tallahassee, Florida that we're doing an expansion on of the existing self-storage facility that we converted. So we own this property. We converted an old YMCA into self-storage. We've gone through all the heartaches of development, putting the underground utilities, the retention, making sure all those things are in place. And so we've been open since April 1st on that existing building, and we are about 45% occupied in 2.5 months. And we're looking to build, we're going to build around it 70,000 additional square feet of storage. So that's phase 2. And so we have a 506c offering, which means it's for accredited investors only to invest alongside of us, having equity ownership in the opportunity with us. And essentially, we're going to build 70,000 square feet around it, lease up the property to stabilization, and then turn around and sell it. And projected returns on that one's like 28% IRR, and which means per year, pretty much based on timeline. And then and that's like a 4-year time period. And then we are gonna obviously sell it at that point. It should be like a 2.2x multiple on invested capital. So it's a great deal. We're about halfway. We are halfway subscribed for that investment. So we're continuing to raise capital for that deal. And so as we're growing our company, we see the people we're missing in place, like having an investor relations person. So instead of me making all the calls and talking to investors, we have to have someone in place to do that. So as we continue to grow our companies, we see what we need to do and need to work on. And, we're doing that. And so on this deal, I've never developed self-storage before. And so what I did is I actually partnered with a developer and a GC who has built over 1 million square feet of self-storage. So they have built for CubeSmart and AAA storage. So I'm utilizing them and their skill set, and they're utilizing me, which is my skill set, raising money, structuring deals. And we teamed up to do this deal together. And so it's been great so far. We've gone through all the hard stuff. And so for the next phase, it's pretty much easy, just building the metal boxes and essentially, getting it leased up. And we have third-party management in place, which is the only property we actually do have third-party management. All the other properties we self-manage ourselves. And so it's a little bit of a switch, but it is definitely they're doing a great job. Obviously 45% occupancy in 2.5 months is pretty solid.
Dude, that's insane. And again, the approach, that who not how approach, like that is music to my ears. That I love when a person comes on, because it's so easy for people nowadays, especially on social media, to create this persona like I know everything. And here you are, you're coming along and you're like, yeah, $50 million in real estate. And no, I don't know everything. I don't. But I'm smart enough to know that I don't know. And I go and I find the people that have a proven track record. And I'm vetting these people and I'm finding the right person to then go and operate with, to go and work with. And so that is insane. So for the people that are like interested in this, because I saw Josh, he was like, yo, I'm adding 70K to this, right? Like, how does a person get connected with you? How do they, because I know you got your IG here. Like, should I just have everyone go and reach out to you and DM you on Instagram?
Yeah, they can. If you actually DM storage on Instagram, it'll put you through a little funnel. If you're interested in passively investing or being an active investor, we're wholesaling some self-storage facilities as well, so we can send you some self-storage deals. But if you're a passive investor, you can go on there, DM me storage, and get locked in there with us, and it'll pass you through this deal, this opportunity, send you all the information on it, and then I'll reach out as well and make sure we connect and see how if it's a good fit for you moving forward. And it's a good opportunity, great market. It's in Florida, high demand, no competition in 1 mile. So solid deal. This is the one that Pace is invested in with us. And so good opportunity, good market, man. So if anybody's interested, credit investors only, would love to talk with you about it. And if not this one, we have deal flow coming as well. So there'll be other opportunities that are not just for accredited investors, but for, once we become friends and family by messaging me, let's start building a relationship and, do deals together.
And guys, let me highlight something. We've never brought a guest onto this podcast because we're big on just wanting to deliver value. So the fact that we have Alex up here, the fact that he's the first person on this show as a guest, and like this shows the level of respect that we have for this man. In fact, I think it was about 2 weeks back I met up with you, and everyone knows, like if anyone knows me and they've met me in person, they know I'm big on energy. Like I'm big on vibes. I'm big on feeling a person out. And when I get near a person, even if they have like a good persona online, I'm like, I don't know about that person. With Alex, it was just straight genuine vibes. And I'm like, yo, this dude is legit. And so I got to say, shout out to you for that. So guys, reach out and DM Alex. If you're interested now, if you're interested in the future, something that people should understand when you want to invest in these sort of deals as well, it's important that you have to have an existing relationship, which means you've got to start that communication. You've got to start building that relationship with him so that he's even able to put you in a deal like this as these amazing opportunities come along. So take that time, reach out, begin to build these relationships, begin to get into these rooms, begin to start these sort of conversations, because these are life-changing relationships and life-changing conversations and life-changing opportunities only if you get off your assets and do something about it. So
get off your assets. And sometimes I just wonder, like, if he has these things written down somewhere, or he just comes up with this stuff like on the spot. One thing I want to highlight, guys, really quick. A lot of people are going to invest because they got some money to park, right? But for people who want to learn, right? For guys like me, investing, the return truly, in my opinion, isn't going to be in the money that comes back, because it's going to come back, right? Money comes and money goes. It's just the way it is. The return, at least in my mind, is being able to actually partner up with Alex, and not just him, but the team, the infrastructure, right? The people that he has designated as experts, right, in development on the back end of all the people who have their roles, seeing what that looks like. Because one, Alex time isn't easy to get because he does so much and he's making so much money doing a lot of crazy things. This is the epitome of giving and receiving value, right? So don't just, a lot of people ask us, we always get it, right? Alex, you probably get it more than we do, and which is people reaching out and they want to know how they can give value to you. Well, the reality is the best way to give value to an investor is to go and actually buy a freaking deal with them. Go create wealth together. That's a pretty badass thing to do. So Alex, the best way, again, just for anyone who missed it, because people were probably just staring at Marlon's handsome face, the best way to get a hold of you is to DM you on Instagram and DM you the word storage.
Yeah, DM me storage if you're interested in storage or learning more about storage. Whether you're a passive investor or active investor, we give out a lot of information. We have case studies on every single deal we've bought, from acquisition to sale or acquisition to what it's currently doing. So we put a lot of content out there, and it's only if you DM storage. And then if you need help in other assets, other asset classes, or have a question as well, you can DM me your questions. I'll be happy to answer anyone and everyone's question.
Dude, Marlon, I gotta say, man, thank you for spending time with Alex the other week and forcing this to happen. By the way, as soon as Marlon told me he hung out with you, he's like, guys, should we get Alex on ThinkBig? I'm like, you better go back to that man and make sure that crap happens. Marlon, thank you so much for making this happen this time around. Alejandro, you're absolutely amazing. And dude, your questions were actually fantastic. You gave me a paradigm shift in that. Alex, getting your time is not easy, right? Getting your time is not easy. But one thing that I will say is that every time you give your time, you just lead with so much damn value. And whether I'm hanging out with you in person or on social media or DMing you on Instagram, and I feel bad sometimes. I kind of blow up your Instagram a little bit. Thank you for being an absolutely genuine human being. Like, that's actually, there's a lot of things that you do that are badass, whether it's the self-storage or the multifamily or the wholesale or all the other things that you got going on. Now it's a lot of public speaking. I feel like I'm seeing you on stage all the damn time too, or crushing YouTube on top of that. I think that the most badass thing about you is just how genuine you are. So dude, truly, we appreciate that a lot.
I appreciate you guys, man. I see you all crushing it, killing it, doing your thing. So keep it up, man. You guys are on your way. And keep it up, man. Love you guys.
Thank you,
Marlon.
man. Thank you, Alex.
Marlon, people got dues to pay one last time, brother. No one does it better than you. Make them pay their dues.
All right, guys, appreciate you all for being here. Appreciate you for hanging out in the comments. Seriously, you showing love, showing out in the comments means the world to us. I am reading every single comment. Like, Matthew's been going hard. Josh has been going hard. Maxie's been going hard. So first off, I just want to say thank you all for being here, for showing some support. Make sure that you go out and give some love to Alex for having him here. We've held him for over an hour, so we're about to let him go. But before we do that, you got to pay your dues. We don't ask for money on this podcast. We do ask that you hit the subscribe button, you hit the like button, and more importantly, you share this episode. If you got value, go out and share it to somebody that you feel will also get value from this. This is how you pay it forward. It's by passing on valuable information. It's sending it out to the person that needs it, because podcasts, books, YouTube videos have changed my life, and they have the power to change someone else's. So if you know someone that needs to watch this, make sure that you get this sent out to them. And guys, I want to see you back here next week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Arizona. All right. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.